Good evening and welcome to another episode of Watching You. I'm Jeff Scott in St. John, New Brunswick, and joining me all the way from Stewiacke, Nova Scotia is Jeff Gray.
Me again, episode 7.
Episode 7 is 7 and we're still here.
I know.
We haven't been shut down by Gene Simmons or Doc McGee.
We're getting closer, though.
I wonder if they've noticed.
Well, you know what? Like, did you? I know we haven't mentioned. I haven't mentioned this yet, but I don't want to talk too much about this because I want to start throwing names around there. But I know that Lydia Chris had said she's been watching some of the shows, so that's kind of cool.
Lydia, I'm still working up to asking her that big question. No, I'm not proposing.
We're not even close to that.
I want to interview her.
Oh, do you? Yeah.
Yeah, that would be cool.
But I think that, well, like you said in our last show, we were getting a little closer to get ourselves in a little bit of trouble. Like, for some reason, we got picked up for some third-party match and some of the content that we put on. But it's not nothing serious. But that's just the way this works.
That's funny because...
It's smart enough.
It's funny because I'm adding all kinds of photos and video and even sound.
Well, you know what happens is it depends on if someone's claimed it on, and registered it on YouTube. In that case, it was just for everybody's information. It was the clip of the Lick It Up in the last episode got flagged, and it's amazing program. It takes you right to the time that it starts that they flag you for third-party content. So usually music does that a lot, like those videos that I've done on music with Kiss covers and things like that get picked up. So
I didn't notice it, but anyway, it's still on. We got, over 200 views in about 3 days?
224 right now, and all kinds of comments going on, and it's picking up way faster. Like each episode now, the Elder picked up faster than the previous one, and this one picked up faster than the Elder. So hopefully that's the trend that we're going to see. We seem to be getting more and more people interested in the conversation, which is fantastic. What it's all about. So
yeah, it's great. I'm dressed a little bit nicer than my usual Kiss T-shirt tonight, so I thought I'd dress for the occasion. So what I am is I'm dressed to kill.
So do you have a suit on? I can't see Jeff.
You can't see me. That's the thing. So you'll have to wait. You'll have to wait for the actual upload in order to see what I'm doing.
So you could have a suit on. You could look like a murderer. You could look.
You don't know what I've got.
You could be wearing your Kiss makeup because some other people want you to do it, not because you want to do it, because other people want you to do it.
Well, you know what? I was going to. Well, I just didn't have time. So I'll give you that much. I'm not wearing Kiss makeup. I was going to do that, but I didn't.
I can't wait to see it. Like all the rest of the shows, I can't wait. I don't, like I said this before, I look forward to seeing these things these shows come out, because I never get to see what Jeff's doing to them behind the scenes.
Well, this is it. See, I can see Jeff Gray. Jeff Gray cannot see me at this moment. He also doesn't see all the photos and video and stuff that I add in afterwards.
Right.
So it's always a surprise to Jeff when we put these on the air. So.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's fun for me too, is what I'm saying, right? So, so tonight we talked about what we talked about in the last episode. We talked about obviously the unmasking, but that was naturally taking us to. And we ended the last show with our a brief discussion of the reunion and what kind of what got Kiss to the point where they were doing the reunion tour and what was going on at that time. Because I think this was probably, in my mind, the reunion itself was probably the biggest event in Kiss than anything they ever did
since the formation in '73.
No, I'd say even bigger than that for fans. I'd say it was, and that's what I said we can talk about. I mean, obviously,
yes,
it's
more anticipated for fans.
Well,
it was like your dream come true.
Yeah, it certainly was. I mean, there's always a chicken and egg discussion, right? You can't have the reunion without the original. But I think, from an excitement perspective and what people were looking forward to me, it may have been the most significant event in their history, other than the creation, obviously, right?
Yeah.
So what was
I had an apology to make.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, who are you apologizing to?
Well, I'm apologizing to you.
What for?
Well, I don't realize it until I watch the playback, and I realize that sometimes I get too carried away with a theory. Or a topic, and I can see you're trying to get your word in, and I cut you off, and then I cut you off another time, and I thought, I need to listen.
No. Actually, you know what? No need at all. Actually, that's what makes it the way it is. And no, believe me, you don't know the business side of me, but if I really wanted to get into the conversation, wasn't really interested in what you had to say, or was offended in any way, shape, or form, you'd know about it.
Yeah.
So don't worry about that. No, you know what? I really appreciate that. I mean, that's just the passion that comes out, Jeff.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, that's what makes you a great Kiss fan, right? As far as I'm concerned, right? So I appreciate it, though. But I mean, certainly no need to do that. That's for sure.
And and let you know ahead of time, I don't think I have any theories on the reunion.
That's going to be a big.
I have a timeline.
Okay.
And I think I kind of got into the timeline a little bit on the last show, so at the risk of being repetitive, I may share my timeline.
Well, yeah, I mean, you know, as long as it's brief.
Well, I don't do anything that's brief.
Well, that's true, but you're passionate. So, what do you tell me about your timeline?
Okay, I'll try to do it in 60 words or less. Timeline: 73, Kiss are formed. Okay, 77, 78, 79, they're huge.
Yep.
1980, they start to drop off, lose their popularity. Albums like Unmasked. 1983, the makeup comes off. For me personally, that was a loss. A loss of a band that I had huge interest in, and I lost so much interest in them throughout the 80s. I just wasn't paying attention.
Yeah.
Listening, buying records, they just did so little for me. Hit around 1992, and something kind of strange happened. And I talked about my Kiss Renaissance, and my Kiss Renaissance was Kiss now has been around for almost 20 years, so it's now classic rock. You know? I mean, in 1980, 82, Kiss was so passé. You know, things become passé, meaning it's we've been there and done that.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's too recent. It hasn't been around long enough to be classic. Now Kiss is classic, and I started to find some really classic stuff. Like I was talking about how I found Kiss magazines.
Yeah.
You know, and it was vintage Kiss photos, and they threw in some tablatures so you could learn Cold Gin and some other things. And I thought, this is really cool. The next cool thing to come along was Kiss My Ass. And when I opened Kiss My Ass, the CD, there was a note from Paul and Gene, and it was to Ace and Peter, and it said, "We miss you." And I thought, man, there's a message right there. Smacked me right in the face. When the Unplugged episode aired. Well, not aired. We bought the video and watched it. And when Peter made that gesture, me and the boys would be playing all night, and the crowd went mad, and the look in Gene Simmons' face, I said, I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. It's been enough time. See, time heals all wounds, right? I said, enough time has passed. These guys are so retro. If they got together with the makeup and the boots, it would be the coolest thing in the world. I know I'm past 60 words or 60 seconds.
You shouldn't be putting those kind of certainly not 60-word limitations. That's virtually impossible.
So I just remember I was driving to work, and I had the classic rock radio station on. They started talking about Kiss. You know, they said, they got together with Ace Frehley and Peter Criss and did the Unplugged, and it was a big hit. And they're getting back together. They're putting the makeup back on, and it didn't come as a surprise at all to me. I thought, of course, I saw it coming in '92 when I opened the Kiss My Ass CD. I saw that one coming.
What do you think about that? Let's go back to that, though. You just mentioned that note from Gene and Paul. Do you think it was sincere?
I think it was. I thought it was. Well,
or do you think it was a marketing ploy?
I think it was getting the fans ready. I think it was foreshadowing. I thought it was clever.
Do you remember what year
I thought there was a message. Kiss My Ass, 92, 93, maybe.
Yeah, okay. Because the reason I say that is because it also would. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I don't know the answer to that question. It's just as you were talking about, though, I wondered, and it's funny. That's why I think this way sometimes about what because when you think about if Gene and Paul are saying that, what does that say? Who's responsible for keeping the band apart?
Yeah.
If you say it that way,
I don't know if it's.
We miss you.
I think. I don't think we miss you was as sincere as. We could make a lot of money if the four of us were back together. That's what I thought. I thought that message was stronger.
I'd like to know exactly when that came out, like when Kiss My Ass came out. That won't. Did they put that out, or was that an independent compilation?
No, they produced it.
Okay,
Just give me a second. I'm just going to Google it because I can do that even as we're recording.
Well, while you're talking about that, though, because
1994, I was off by a couple of years.
Okay, but that's important though, because when you look at the timelines for them, okay, if you look at because that's kind of the same thing I was looking at, was the timelines in this. So okay, so you got 1992, Revenge comes out. And for a lot of Kiss fans, and I know it wasn't necessarily for you, but for a lot of Kiss fans, Revenge was okay. They got they're starting to figure out, and this is really important because it gets interrupted. But in 1992, Revenge comes out, and they're starting to get a sound again. That's not 80s, not anybody else's sound. It's their sound, and Kiss fans are really starting to dig it again, and. So that happened. So then, right after that, then they had Alive 3, which had
it was Revenge, then Alive 3.
Yeah, because
Carnival of Souls was almost ready to come out, wasn't it?
That was 97.
Maybe that's after. Yeah, that's. After
we'll get to that because
that's part of the timeline.
It's a strange. It's a strange timeline thing because you got Alive. So that's what I'm saying. Like Revenge came out, and I think I didn't look at the record sales. But from a Kiss fan perspective, a lot of Kiss fans that were kind of disenchanted were starting to get back on the wagon a little bit.
Well, you know what sorry.
Don't be too careful. But I will finish that thought. A lot of Kiss fans were getting back on the bandwagon at that point in time. Alive 3 came out. And I'm trying to remember back. Like, I make fun of all kinds of stuff, but I got to be honest with everybody and say, what was I thinking of it at the time? And I remember Alive 3. I liked it. I played it quite a bit in St. John, and that down in that family room that you and I played in quite a few times. Yeah. And I played with that quite a bit, and I learned some songs that I didn't know, like Creatures in the Night and some of the 80s stuff. But then right after that, that came out, and then Kiss My Ass came out, which was kind of cool. But you know what? So here's Kiss. They're starting to make some inroads. They're really starting to get their swagger back. Yeah. Then they do the Unplugged. Then they go to the makeup again, right? So then they kind of give up on all that, and that's an important discussion to have apart. But you're going to say something there.
Well, I was just going to comment that I did see the video for Domino.
Yes.
And what I liked about it was they're no longer struggling with that tacky 80s image.
Right.
Like in the last episode, I showed some video from I'm not sure which one it was, but it's the one where Paul is wearing like ranger gloves and they're purple, and the rest of his costume is kind of yellow, and it's just absolutely horrible. But in this one, I think it's Domino, and Gene's in this red convertible, and he's drinking a drive-through soda, and the rest of the band are really, it's almost kind of grungy, and I thought I kind of like the style. Kiss has been around long enough, and I like I say, I tuned them out in the '80s, but I liked the image, and I liked Domino. And although I didn't buy Revenge, when Kiss Alive 3 came out, I thought they kind of broke the pattern, because Kiss Alive only took material from the first 3 albums. Kiss Alive 2 only took material from the 4, 5, and 6 albums. But Kiss Alive 3 was kind of spanning, and it had Creatures, which I wanted to hear. It had Watching You. I said, well, I want to hear the new version of Watching You. It had Deuce. King of the Nighttime World?
No, I don't think that was on it.
Anyway, I bought Kiss Alive. I bought Kiss Alive 3 because I hadn't bought a Kiss record since Creatures.
Well, you come across something that's very important there. That was really important for me. It started with "Hot in the Shade." It wasn't the album cover, which I know you don't like, but the videos for, like, for instance, the video for, we started talking about "Hide Your Heart" there. The band shots of Kiss they were getting away from the makeup. In other words, the '80s. Female makeup, and they're starting to look tougher, more leather, more
the
cooler,
long leather coats,
more cooler.
That's the Revenge era.
It started. That's what kind of like when
it started with "Hot in the Shade."
Yeah, it did.
Okay,
and then when they went to Revenge, they went, I really like that. Like even Paul's going unholy. This thing goes unholy with his arms. He does the cross, and Gene's now got some facial hair. He's wearing lots of bling. No, but he's got a real
Yeah, he's got a little bit of a goatee going.
He's got much.
Yeah,
he's a bit of a biker look, and
Yeah.
Paul's really got some serious mean looks on his face. They're not showing a lot of Eric and Bruce at that point. They kind of flash on them really quickly.
And Paul had a new look. His hair was kind of stringy,
parted. He had it parted on the side,
and it was a little bit sort of like
longer.
thinner and longer and stringier. And he looked more. He looked less like the big hair metal '80s kind of guy.
Dark imagery,
and
right?
A little more. I don't know, just a little more modern, I guess. That's the only way I can say that.
And darker imagery. They were definitely trying to project what I would say much closer to the original Kiss of the black and white, tougher type of image, right?
Yeah.
And it was a
return to something a little bit cooler than that '80s Yellow Ranger gloves.
It was more theirs, I would say. It was more themselves. And it certainly appealed to me, and it was kind of that really started to bring me back into, I would have listened to more if they came out with with more of that type of material. I would have listened to it.
Yes.
Now, but so right in the middle of that, so we should talk about. Let's talk about.
Enough with revenge. Let's move on.
Well, no, but that's.
Sorry, what were you going to say?
That's really important, though. I think it's. I think that's that you talk about the timeline, right? So I think revenge is.
There was definitely a turn, and I think that they started to recognize that Kiss was no longer passé. Enough time had passed that Kiss was now classic, and that's why I think they did "Kiss My Ass." It was time to revisit some of that stuff. There had been some tribute albums put out. Gene Simmons recalls having heard. I think the title of the album is called VA. I'm not sure what it stands for. Maybe it's various artists, but it had some bands, some notable bands, such as Nirvana. But someone did a version of Beth, which was more, Beth, I hear you calling, and it was like that. And he thought, well, that's interesting the way someone did a whole new take on that song. So they produced it. It's Paul and Gene just looking to make some more dollars. But it gave Kiss fans something else to chew on because I bought it as soon as it came out. I knew it was coming, and I bought it. And Lenny Kravitz doing Deuce, and Garth Brooks doing
Extreme did Strutter.
Garth Brooks doing Hard
There
Luck
was
Woman.
There was an awful version of Detroit Rock City on there.
Well, it's the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones.
Yeah, I didn't
but
like
I
that.
kind of like it. In fact, I liked it so much I went out and bought the album by the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, which is ska. It's like a punk version of reggae.
But the album served its purpose for sure. You introduced me to that album. So this is really important. Like I said before, when we started the show, this was a very important. This is how we became friends. We became friends. Yeah. We became friends through we just met each other in a jam we just found two Kiss fans and you had some time in your hands because you were single and my wife was a nurse and we didn't have any kids, so we spent some time together playing some guitar, which was great. But this album, Kiss My Ass, was our vehicle to start doing stuff together, and that's the first one we listened to. We started playing that. I don't know if you remember that, but we were doing you introduced it to me.
I don't remember that in particular. I remember the night that we got together for a jam, and I didn't know you, and you didn't know me, and I hardly knew the other guys, but we got together and we said, okay, what do we play?
Yeah.
And usually a jam just turns into a 12-bar blues, and then, I don't know, either you said or I said, do you know any Kiss? And both our eyes just lit up, and we just started playing. These other guys had no idea what we were doing, but they followed along.
They did a great job, really.
We did Parasite, Watching You, all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, Watching You was
good,
crazy. I actually remember doing Watching You, and I remember that. I know the drums were completely wrong, but who wouldn't get that wrong if you didn't know the song by heart, right?
Yeah.
But somehow he kept it together in some of those breakdowns, and I remember it was great. But this album. It was like you and I went through this period where we went through this album, and then and we got a lot of interest in this. And you and I messed around with it, and we started playing some of the Kiss songs again. That's when we started jamming this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And we wished, and we wished, and we wished, and then we watched Unplugged together.
Yeah, Unplugged. Well, it was a great marketing thing what they did with Unplugged because they put the album out first, and then the video came a little bit later. Right, and they they did the same thing with the Alive 4, I guess.
Oh yeah,
it's the one with the
Symphony
Orchestra.
Yeah,
they put out the CD first.
Yeah,
and then the DVD came maybe 2 months later.
Right.
So Kiss fans had to buy both because you wanted to hear it because you waited and you knew it was out there, but at the same time you wanted to see it. You wanted to see for Unplugged, you wanted to see Ace Frehley and Peter Criss come out and enjoy the stage with Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons once again. There's your reunion right there. You can talk about the reunion.
I wasn't bitter at that point.
But Unplugged, Unplugged is the reunion, and not
Yeah.
not just what you saw on the stage, but all that extra stuff backstage. You know, when Peter Criss walks in, you know, and Gene goes, "Hey, Pete,
Yeah.
Frehley." You know, I mean, if you're a diehard Kiss fan and you grew up with those guys, those were kind of magic moments, and you enjoyed those moments.
It's funny.
Even if they were fake. They might have been fake, but I enjoyed.
Okay, you knew where I was going.
Watching.
Yeah, I always wondering that when you say hi to someone that you really care about for years, you don't usually say, "Hey, Pete." But but you know what? You're right. I think that that whole project was so cool, and I didn't have at that stage of the game, I wasn't like, you know, yearning for Peter Criss and Ace Frehley to come back. I was actually enjoying what was going on. I was enjoying, you know, Gene and Paul and Eric and Bruce. I was. Now, I had also kind of hadn't really thought about it, but as soon as, you know, MTV Unplugged came out, now it was, okay. But you know what? That recording was important on so many different levels. I think it gave Kiss a huge amount of credibility with fans outside of the Kissdom, you know, outside of the Kiss Army. When you look, because that recording shows what their actual talent is, their songwriting talent as well as their performance talent. When you tone it down, just get acoustic guitars, and you listen to them sing, that was that show was well executed.
Yeah, and Paul Stanley said an important thing. He said, you know, if it's a great song, it should translate to acoustic. If it doesn't, it's not a great song. And then I don't know, I think it was Paul or someone said, it also gave us a chance to sing.
Yeah,
and it did. I think it was toned down, and it wasn't, you know, balls to the wall energy on stage and loud electric guitar. And I think, you know, they chose the songs that did translate well to acoustic, so they give them a chance to sing. You take a song like "I'll See You Tonight" from the Gene Simmons solo album.
Yeah,
yes,
I love that song.
That gives them a chance to put in all kinds of harmony.
Yeah,
and it's only Paul and Eric Singer that offer that, but still, you know, three-way harmony sounds nice.
Yeah, they did a great job, and it showed all their voices in terms of their ability to sing. And it's true. I mean, you're in bands, and I've done acoustic work, and it exposes weakness, but it also can highlight strengths. And I think what it did for them is it showed me and everybody else that, you know what, it's not just about the recording process. It's not just about editing and you know, dubbing. They actually have some talent, and it really that recording to me was one of their best efforts from a performance perspective.
Have you seen the unedited version of it?
No.
I don't know if I downloaded it or if it's on YouTube, but it's basically the entire unedited tape. I'm trying to think what song. Well, you know, on the actual release, they did start Domino twice, and I think they threw that in just to show that, you know, we are human, live. We make mistakes. But you can see the complete unedited thing. I think it was something might have been something Ace was doing. I can't remember, but they started it several times. We're talking 4 or 5 times they started it. Was it 2000 Man or was it Beth? I can't remember. But Ace was on stage. I remember that. And they started something 4 or 5 times. But not just that. I mean, with the 4, with Eric and Bruce, they started some songs, you know, Gene forgot a line or whatever, and they said, no, we'd start again.
Yeah.
And, you know, the audience was really patient. The band wasn't apologetic in the least. They said, well, sorry, we got to start again, you know. But they didn't get up and make a big speech.
But a Kiss fan,
no, you wouldn't care because really that, you know, like I just said about 10 minutes ago, that Unplugged really was the reunion.
You would pay,
or at least it was the spark for the reunion.
I'd pay more money to see that than I would to see a full
people who were there were part of History for sure.
Absolutely.
Did you notice how in the front row it's almost like they're all these really great-looking girls with long hair? They almost seem to be planted there.
Yeah, but that's sort of like every TV show now that they have. It's like you look at American Idol and all those shows, and it really pisses me off because you've got no, it does because it's so fake, and people and it's not that the show pisses me off; is that people buy this stuff because you can see it. They have like American Idol. I'll use them as an example. They have like I said, they have a separate stage. Like almost like a pit, And they have all models on that front row, and they're all paid to clap at the music, scream, and yell. And how fake would that be if you're an artist, that you go down there and you got these people that are paid to actually like your music, right? So but that may I can't.
It's the same thing at the Oscars. If someone goes to the bathroom, they have seat fillers. You can't afford to show an empty seat on national television.
Wow.
But what I notice on the Kiss Unplugged is oftentimes they'll have a tracking camera, and it's just kind of sort of in the middle of the audience, and you'll notice there's this one girl in the front row, and she's often just kind of flicking her hair, but a couple of times she's just kind of looking away, and I thought to myself, she looks bored. She's not a Kiss fan. She's only there because she looks good and she's got great hair.
Yeah.
And that part was so obvious. Immediately I thought it might have been maybe Paul's wife. But no, I think these were models in the front row.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that would be a concert, and the unedited version of the concert. In other words, being able to go see them in that setting, in that intimate of the setting, all the flaws and everything would be better than going to see a full-fledged concert, I think. And seeing behind the scenes, and I think that's what a lot of Kiss fans want. Like, there's a lot of. I should make a shout out to Kissopolis, right? To Paul Zilla,
great site.
Well, he's been such a huge. He's just one guy,
Oh,
that runs that site. It's 15,000 fans on that site, and he runs it all by himself. But anyway, the reason I mention him is because they've been showing a lot of video of the current tour from behind. Sort of behind the scenes stuff from Kiss Online, right? Yeah, and that's people really crave that kind of unique, seeing inside, what do you call it? Seeing inside seeing behind the curtain now. We talked about that way back about, we didn't want to see who's that man behind the curtain. Don't ignore that man behind the curtain, but that's kind of what we want to see now. But Unplugged, that got us all ready, right? I mean, it was like. Okay, and then
it was family, but you'll notice that there were some people missing.
Well, then it came down to you're right. So before we get to the reunion, this set the stage for the reunion itself. And let's talk how you felt and how I felt about when specifically when the first Kiss song. They did what, 2,000 Man? That was the first song they did together. They did,
yeah. Well, right? Like I say, you bought the video. I think you bought the videotape. It was a tape. It was a VHS.
Yeah, it was a VHS.
Well, I don't think we had
and DVD the CD. Then. And the CD. I had the CD.
And the CD. You bought both at the same time. Yeah. Okay. I bought the record.
I know.
I've got it on vinyl, and Eric Singer has autographed the vinyle.
Oh, cool.
So
that has the bonus track on it, right?
Is it Got to Choose?
Yeah.
That's the bonus track, yeah. So I bought it on vinyl, which is cool.
But anyway, that pissed me off back then. By the way,
I know. See, they want you to buy everything, right? They want you to buy them all.
I didn't like it then, but I didn't hate them for it, but I didn't like it.
Yeah, but you and I were watching it in my apartment. You bought the videotape, and we watched it, and it was exciting when Ace Frehley came out. And he goes into the audience. He starts high-fiving people. What's going on?
Yeah.
And he's got his Marilyn Monroe shirt or Plan 9 from Outer Space, whatever, his Diet Coke. Yeah. And I thought, okay, it'd be nice to see them wearing costume and makeup, but it doesn't matter because it's the four of them in the room for the first time, and you could almost feel the love in the room.
Yeah,
It may not be the love amongst the four of them, but you could feel the love from the fans.
Oh,
you could feel the vibe, because I felt it, because I'm a diehard Kiss fan from being a kid. And I felt it, and I thought if I was there in that audience, I would just be like, there they are, four of them together.
You're such a little schoolgirl.
I'm sentimental over this stuff.
I know, but
what can I say?
You're funny. You're definitely like a little schoolgirl sometimes on this stuff.
One Direction.
But what?
So yeah, I mean, it was exciting when they said, kidding. 2,000 Man might not have been my pick, but I thought I don't care because. Now, that brings me back to Dynasty, and I shared in another episode my memories of Dynasty. It was that summer of '79, and it was just hysteria amongst us. And we had a battery-operated 8-track, and we'd walk around, Gander as teenagers playing Dynasty on a battery-operated 8-track. It was cool.
I know. But they, that was, and what was kind of funny about that, remember he comes out and he says, he tries to pretend, like, and he was kind of tongue-in-cheek at the point. He says, what should we play?
Yeah, what are we going to do?
What are you going to do? It was but he was very much tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah, they knew what they were going to do.
But you're right, you could see when they came out, when you watched that show, listen, everybody was supporting, at least what I saw, people were supporting what they were doing. In other words, the music they were putting out, those with Bruce and Eric for that show.
Yeah.
And they were getting applause, but the energy level completely changed when Peter and Ace came out. No question about it.
Yeah.
And so much so that at the end of that first song, I remember the point when Ace did that solo. And if we can, when he did solo to 2,000 Man, which was nowhere near as good as he did on the electric guitar, because as we know, playing acoustic guitar was a nightmare. That's right. So, but there's a reason for that, is because
originally he wanted to do Shock Me.
Oh, did he? Yeah, no way he was going to do that.
No,
right?
that wouldn't work on acoustic.
You notice I never really tried to imitate him, right? Because I can't. But he. But
I hope Ace doesn't see this.
I'm sure. Listen, if he did, he'd be proud. I think, because we certainly have good things to say about his influence on us. But the guitar work that he does, you look at 2000 Man is a great example of that. Is that everything is the pentatonic. He's always got to bend strings, and that is a nightmare on acoustic guitar. But he played the lead guitar on that. And I remember at the end of that lead...
It's the lead at the end.
There's
an outro lead.
That's right, but in the song itself, go back and watch it. When he does that original lead in the middle of the song, the crowd... he doesn't do a stellar job of it or anything like that. He does okay. But when he finishes that lead and goes back and goes back to singing again, and I think it's in the bridge, the crowd goes nuts when he finishes that, because that's the first solo that he did since... Gosh, probably, Unmasked, really. Well, it would have been some stuff on The Elder, right? But that was it. Since The Elder, other than Frehley's Comet stuff.
I'd have to look at that again. I don't really remember
big moment,
but I do remember the end of the song as they're coming out of it. I'm a 2000 man.
Yeah.
And the audience, they were really putting their hands together for that, because that was the first time to really applaud the four members of Kiss together for the first time. Yeah,
that was a huge moment, and the rest of that's part of the set was really, really big. So that's
did they go straight to Beth? Did they do something else? They went to Beth, didn't they?
No, they went right to Beth, and then they brought the Bruce and Eric back on. They did Nothing to Lose.
Nothing to
Lose,
and
Rock and
Roll All Night.
Yeah,
big surprise there.
Yeah, well, you know what? And it was interesting because. Anyway, it was when they got them all back out there. Like you said, we talked about this before, but I think in the unedited version there's some booing or something like that when they come back out. But that's what I heard. But
I've heard they were saying Bruce, 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 Bruce.
Yeah.
Boo and then other people are saying they're booing. I don't know.
Yeah, Boo Earns. Are you saying Boo or Boo Earns? I was saying Boo Earns. You don't know that show.
Boo Earns?
It's on The Simpsons anyway.
Oh no.
Everybody was. Anyway, we'll move on. So that's Unplugged. It. I mean, so. How did that impact you? So.
Well, I was enjoying the show, the concert, and I was really enjoying classic Kiss. Stuff like Coming Home. You wouldn't expect that one, right?
Well, that sucks. Actually, I think it sounds really bad on Harder Than Hell, and I think it sounds great on acoustic, right?
Yeah.
But you remember,
I was enjoying it. I was looking forward to Ace and Peter coming out, but at the same time, I was like, well, when they come out, how much are they going to do? Is that the end of the show? And there was a lot of concert gone by, and I thought, we're getting towards the end. When are they going to bring them out? There was an anticipation, but at the same time, I didn't want it to be over. I was like, keep playing Kiss songs. I'm enjoying this. And I had a new appreciation for stuff that I hadn't really listened to, like Domino. Yeah, that was there, and I'd heard it a couple times before, but now I had a new appreciation for it. Forever,
Have
you know, I might have heard it once or twice on the radio, and I was like, my God, what a great tune. I Still Love You from Creatures. I hadn't heard that since 1982. I'd put the tape away and just hadn't
Paul
really
had some
heard
really
it.
good vocals in that concert.
Did he ever? I think it was I Still Love You at the end of it. Gene goes, Paul Stanley!
Domino.
And he needed
right.
that little extra boost because he gave it his all.
Yeah, he did a great. It was amazing vocal. A lot of people don't like that, but I really like that. The other thing, the piece of trivia there too, is that song Domino. Have you heard the song Nasty Nasty by Black and Blue, Tommy Thayer's old group?
No.
Go listen to it. It was somebody put it on somewhere on Facebook, and it is that initial riff. Yeah. It's what a ripoff.
Was it?
The Kiss ripped.
Who ripped off who?
Oh no, Kiss ripped it off from Black and Blue.
Well,
for sure.
I'm sure Gene was aware of that band because he was probably working
Thayer's
with
band.
Tommy Thayer at the time.
Yeah, it's interesting, but it's not a big
Or didn't he
thing.
produce some of Black and Blue?
I don't know, but it's you go listen to that if you want to hear something interesting. It was on the radio today. Now the chorus and that kind of stuff, but it's interesting the lead breaking it. There's different parts. You go listen to it, you see what I'm saying. And I'm the first one to say it. But you know what was really interesting about Unplugged? Do you remember what it inspired us to do? You and I. It
inspired you and I to do a recording, and we did "Coming Home." As one of the songs. We did Got to Choose, Detroit Rock City.
Yeah.
What was the fourth one?
Firehouse.
Yeah.
We did electric
my
versions.
my friend had a recording studio, and I mean it was state of the art, but it was analog,
right?
Reel to reel analog 8-track, and he had this stuff in his basement, and we were super excited. We went down, we laid down guitar tracks and click tracks, and then I tapped in the drums using the keyboard.
Yeah.
And we sang vocals on it, and we made it.
Is there any
way? It was just a fun project, is what it was.
Well, it was, but you know what? And that was the first time that I seriously started to sing. I sing a lot now, but I didn't then. Yeah. And I sincerely started.
I still don't sing.
Well, that's kind of why I sang then. That was the only reason. Yeah. If you were a singer, then I wouldn't have sung. There's no way, right? But I mean, no criticism intended at all. I wasn't a singer either. But I was less of a problem singer, let's say, but at the time. But is there any way we can get that on? Like, is there any way we can take that recording?
You gave me the cassette a couple summers back, and I know exactly where it is. But yeah, I should just hook up a cassette deck and.
But the guitar. I remember that song though. Actually, we did. I thought the acoustic guitars and bass and drums on that you
did. We do it acoustic?
Yes.
I thought we used all electrics.
No. It would come out sweet. It's a nice recording.
I talk about my Kiss renaissance because in the 80s, I just kind of denied I was a Kiss fan. I wouldn't buy a Kiss T-shirt. You can go to Walmart now and buy Kiss T-shirts. They're kind of retro.
Yeah.
My wife bought me at the dollar store, she bought me a notebook just last summer before school started, and it had Dress to Kill on it.
Oh, yeah.
It's retro again. Even like the kids in high school are wearing Kiss T-shirts.
Wow.
I said, where'd you get that? Oh, God, it's Sears. I said, do you listen to Kiss? No, I just thought the T-shirt was cool. So Kiss had this cool renaissance for me personally in the early 90s, and then the reunion, and then, of course, there was a worldwide renaissance when they got back together in '96 and did the reunion tour.
So I have a question.
And
for
I
you.
think it meant different things for different people. But anyway, I'll get to your question.
Well, no, but let's keep going with where you're going there, because I'd be curious to see what people have to say about that, because I have a suspicion that a lot of people that watch our show and watch other shows will say agree that this was a very important moment in history for sure. My question for you was. Do you think the Unplugged was a genius in marketing or good luck?
Oh, it's not luck. Nothing they do was luck.
No, I mean
maybe deciding to put on the makeup, they got lucky with that. No, I think it was genius. It was MTV approached them and said, "Why don't you do an Unplugged show?" So I mean, they're going to jump on anything. I mean, look, if they'll jump on Archie and Hello Kitty.
No, but
they're going to jump on MTV Unplugged.
But do you think they went into Unplugged with the idea that we're going to bring we're going to bring Ace and Peter into the fold here, and then we're going to
because they'd already done it. You see, a year before that, they were doing their own conventions. Because these conventions, they were aware of these conventions, and they thought, this is cool. Now, how can we make money off of this?
Okay,
so they actually had official conventions, and they were going
Yes.
around touring
Yes.
around, and they brought in Peter Criss
Right.
to sing "Hard Luck Woman" at a convention,
Right.
and they saw. You can see the video, and the response from that was overwhelming. The diehards want the original Kiss back together. They want it. They're hungry for it. I was hungry for it, and I think they knew exactly what they were doing.
Okay, it's a good. I actually don't have an opinion on that. It was just a question that came to my mind because different times. Well, and I was kind of playing off of the comment you've made a couple of times now about Gene's reaction to when when Peter says, me and the boys will be playing, and the audience goes crazy, and you said he has this epiphany at that point in time, right?
You can see the look in his eyes. He's looking into the audience. He's thinking, 10 million?
So was that
20
when they
million?
Was that when they
25
realized?
million.
Was that when they realized it, or did
There
they
were
realize
dollar
it before?
signs in his eyes. There's no doubt about it.
But did they realize it then, or did they realize it before?
I think they realized it before, but I think that there's a moment when Gene, it's like it smacked him right in the face.
I think Unplugged gave them the out to go ahead and do it, to put all of the things that they said in the past aside, and it would make it so they could save. Well, another way of saying it, because we can save face now. Because all the things that we've said in the past about each other, both sides, right? Yeah. Now we have look what happened here. Wasn't this beautiful? What a brotherhood! We can get back. We can get
I
back
say
to
this?
Sure.
It was their chance to kiss and make up.
Oh God! You did say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and you're completely right. Yes, it gave them the chance to show the world that we're friends, and we haven't forgotten who we were and what we did, and we're family, and I think it was very carefully planned and, well done.
What do you think would have happened? So obviously your viewpoint would be that the reunion was done for financial reasons largely.
Well, of course.
Agreed. I don't disagree. So
I don't think they did anything
just for the sake for art.
Just for the sake of art. I mean, it's hard to say. I mean, it's hard to pinpoint. I mean, everything they did was art. Depends what your definition of art is. But for them to except for Paul Stanley's paintings, to say that we only did this for art's sake, it's hard to name almost anything they did without some kind of financial gain. And the reunion tour. I mean, just the simple fact that in the end it just became a battle over dollars. If Ace was making $150,000 a concert and Peter was only making $110,000 per concert, and then this becomes public knowledge, and that's the reason for strife between the two of them. I mean, it's not about rock and roll; it's about money.
So, do you think that? What do you think would have happened to the band if they didn't reunite? See, it's hard for you to answer that, isn't it? It's
hard for me to answer that because I saw it coming. But no, it's a good question. I think that had they not reunited, I think they just would have continued the way they were going, making albums, probably getting even heavier. Because now you're in that mid '90s, you've got some really really heavy stuff like Marilyn Manson and Lamb of God. I'm just guessing here. I don't know.
Nine Inch Nails. No, Lamb of God. Lamb of God's after that a little bit, but
Pantera, Dimebag Darrell. It certainly wasn't. It wasn't Firehouse or 100,000 Years anymore. It's very
we have a huge,
really aggressive rock.
But we have a huge clue to that, right? We have a huge clue to what the direction was, and that's Carnival of Souls. That came out in 1997. And every single song, I think, except for one on that album, is in drop D tuning.
Yeah, and that was so typical of that sound, and that sound does nothing for me. It really doesn't.
I know, and it's but that's where I think in a lot of people, it's a lot of Bruce influence on that album for sure.
Yeah,
but that's where but I wonder if that was just a bit of if Gene and Paul let it be a bit of a throwaway because they had already gone. This was '97, so they're already into the reunion tour, right? When they reduced, I wonder if they would have released Carnival of Souls the way it was if they didn't reunite.
I think so. They had an album in the can ready to go. I think they would have. I think Carnival of Souls would have come out a lot sooner than it did.
Probably, but I'm not sure if it would have come out in the same form. It'd be curious. No way to know, obviously, right? But it would be curious to me because it was so Bruce driven. That, and a lot of people say Eric Singer's best drumming is on Revenge. He is a great drumming on, and if you can listen to anything on Carnival Soul, listen to Eric Singer's drumming. Some amazing drumming on there from him. And I went there for a reason, because it takes us to sort of the what if, the reunion wasn't there, because that's really important, because they're still out there touring today, right? So
and we're up to 46 minutes, and we really haven't even discussed the details of the reunion, sort of in a remote kind of way, kind of dodging around the topic. At the time, people, okay, for me it was a dream come true, and it was something I was going to mention a few minutes back was, I think the Kiss reunion meant different things to different people. I think for some people it was like, oh, Kiss, I remember them.
Yeah.
I remember them from I remember that movie. And they're coming to town. Oh, let's get some tickets and let's put on some makeup and let's go see Kiss. Oh, this is going to be great. Yeah, it's going to be fun. And I think for a lot of people that weren't diehard fans or were much younger, people who weren't even around in the 70s, this was kind of a cool retro thing to do.
Yeah.
For me, it's a dream come true. You have to. I don't know if I've told the story before, but in the summer of '79, I'm from Newfoundland, where chances of seeing Kiss are pretty much nil. Ironically, the last time I saw Kiss was in Newfoundland. But anyway, in the summer of '79, we are in Portland, Maine, and this was just after the release of Dynasty. Anyway, they were playing Portland maybe 3 or 4 nights after we had to leave to go back, and I'm begging my father, please, I want to see Kiss. Let us stay another, and it just wasn't in the cards. It never happened. And of course, Peter left and Ace left. The makeup came off, and it's like I'll never see Pink Floyd. I'll never see Led Zeppelin. I know those things, but there was always this hope. That Kiss might get back together and put on some costumes and some boots and makeup. And when it happened, and when I got my ticket, and I drove to Quebec City, Quebec, and I showed up in the parking lot in those big inflatables, and there were a lot of surprises. We talked about that in the last show. There's no surprises anymore. But when I went to that, those big inflatables, that was a surprise. And it didn't become real for me until I got in the parking lot and saw those inflatables, and I thought, oh my God. And I went in. What do you got there? Yes, I remember that book. Yeah. There was some band, D-Generation. I didn't care at all. And I thought, excuse me, I said, I'm going to save my ears. I don't want to sit through this. If I'm going to lose a little bit of hearing, it's going to be through a Kiss show. So I left and went out and walked around. There were some people in costume and makeup, and just kind of took it all in. And then I went in and sat down, and the lights came down, and my heart was beating. It was just pure adrenaline and excitement. All right, Quebec! And I thought, holy jeez, are they actually behind that curtain? Are they actually there? Those 4 guys that I stared at on album covers and magazines that got me through grades 7 and 8 and 9, are they actually behind that curtain? And the curtain dropped and they came out, and I thought I'd died and gone to heaven. I think that's a different experience than someone who said, hey, let's go see the Kiss show, it'll be fun.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I think Kiss were playing more to people like me than to those people. However, they didn't care who bought the tickets.
Well,
as long as the tickets were sold.
At the end, but I think at that point, I really felt that it was exciting for all of them. And in other words, that this was if you look back at some of those concerts back then, I mean, it was definitely exciting for the 4 members of the band. I think it's really cool the way you've experienced this, actually. And I think there's a lot of people out there who would seriously, who wouldn't have seen them. Like I saw them. Everybody knows when I saw them. I'm not going to say it. So I saw them way back.
77 Moncton.
Way back when, right?
I'll show another picture.
No, you don't.
Those were cool pictures.
Yeah, but that's way different. And I haven't seen them since then. But I think for you, I'm trying to imagine this in 1996. Having years and years and years and years of adoring this band that didn't really exist anymore in that form, and then to have your shot, right? Yeah. Must have been incredibly special. But I'm sure there's a lot of people that were exactly in that same position.
I think there's a lot of people who were just like me and thought this is like Christmas morning. It's even more exciting than Christmas morning. It's a dream come true. We've wanted it for many years.
I remember,
and we got it, and it was great.
I remember seeing some of the video from '96, like New York City, I think, and I remember watching it, and the playing was by nowhere near perfect, but the energy level and the dynamics of that band were unparalleled to anything they would have done before or since, really. See Ace back out there playing his guitar and with the band, and
the set list was so cool.
It was a good set list.
I mean, we got Rock Bottom.
Yeah.
With a double neck Gibson.
Yeah.
We got Watchin' You. We got 100,000 Years. They really were catering to that, I mean, yes, I had to sit through God of Thunder. I don't think they did I Love It Loud. They didn't. They weren't doing Heaven's on Fire. They really were sticking to those first
Classic
6
Kiss.
studio albums. Yeah. But we got some great stuff. Love Gun. Well, you're going to get Love Gun. But I mean, Rock Bottom and Watchin' You and 100,000 Years. Oh man, why don't they play those anymore?
Well, Paul could still sing then too, right? Mm-hmm. And and it's so different. And so that was, I mean, how often does that happen when you think about it?
They did She.
How many years was that in between? So they broke up when officially the last concert they would have done would have been, geez, I don't even know when that would have been. But with all 4 of them, it would have been in the early 80s, very early 80s, right?
Just after Dynasty, I would say.
Yeah, so it was a good, 16 years or so, when they would have got, no, maybe not 16, but, 15 or 16 years. And at that stage, their career would have been, from 73 till then. So, my gosh. I didn't see them in that age, but it was okay. They just weren't where I was, and I wasn't going to travel too far to see them. So, if they,
I did.
I
traveled.
That makes I'm glad you got to see them, right? I mean, and Blair's the same way. And Blair says to me the other day, he says,
"Where did he go?"
Blair's going. He went to Quebec too, I think.
So we were there at the same time.
You probably were, and he said something
I didn't
about
know Blair at the time.
Who's Blair? Like he's the infamous Blair that nobody sees, right? We talk about him all the time in the show.
Yeah,
right.
I called him the silent member one time.
The man of mystery.
We do have a 3rd member of East Coast Kiss Tribute.
Well, a lot of people would know because he's, there's, like I said, we've shown a lot of videos of previous when the 3 of us got together, and then some more recent jam that he and I got together and just filmed everything for better or worse, and started throwing some of the stuff on my Sherp Dude channel. SHERPDUDE channel, right? That's on YouTube. All kinds of Kiss videos there for people to check out. So, okay, here's the deal. So now they're reunited, right? So how long should they have reunited? Well, yeah. So how long? Well, now Psycho Circus comes out in the middle.
And if I could just if I could just add one little thing into that, was that although we were just excited and just crazy for this, there was still that question, what happened to Eric and Bruce?
Yeah. Did you feel? I kind of felt bad for them.
I did too. I felt bad for them
because they kind of held it together with them, right?
And and it was just something I read in one of the books, and it said Eric and Bruce have gracefully stepped aside to allow Kiss to do this, and I thought, yeah, they sure did. I mean, you're part of a band. No, you're not. Were they fired? Were they laid off? I mean, was it on good terms? And I didn't really care because I'm going to go see Ace Frehley and Peter Criss live. But
I remember,
I remember thinking, well, what about these guys? And I think that Bruce Kulick should have been back in the band when Ace Frehley couldn't do it anymore.
I don't know, but I definitely felt bad for, at that time. I remember I felt bad for, as much as I wanted to see the reunion, I felt bad for Eric and Bruce because I really felt that. Well, first of all, that's why I mentioned talking about Revenge, because they were that band that Eric and Bruce had diligently worked in was just pulled out from underneath them, and it was actually getting somewhere. So I really felt bad. I wondered about them and felt bad for them. Of course, I'm sure they did fine by themselves, but at that time I thought the same thing.
And Bruce had a much longer. I mean, he'd recorded on a lot of albums.
Mm-hmm. Well, Eric was playing. Eric was gone on to play with them. He was playing with Cooper and.
But Eric Singer really only had that Revenge album that he was officially a part of Kiss,
and Carnival of Souls,
which hadn't been out. But,
right.
Yeah, I mean his career with Kiss was just getting going.
I heard some that he might have done a few tracks on Hot in the Shade, maybe just here and some, but I'm not sure.
I've heard Tommy Thayer is on a lot of Kiss recordings, going back further.
Well, let's go to
further back. He's been in the organization quite a long time.
So, do you remember? So, let's look at Psycho Circus, right?
Psycho Circus,
because that's the next part of the evolution of the reunion, right?
I remember that I have a friend in town who's a Kiss fan and a big diehard, and he gets. I don't know. He got a lot more information than I did, but he said, "Remember those Kiss dolls in the '70s?" I said, "Yeah." Well, they're putting them out again, and I thought, "Oh, right, yeah, the merchandise." Isn't that what kind of killed Kiss in the '70s? Was all the stupid merchandise? I mean, I know it's cool stuff, but if you over merchandise, it becomes stupid. So, not only did they come out with a set of these action figures with each one had like a letter, like a KISS, and you could put them together and make a stage. And then they came out with a second series, the exact same figures, only this time it had a little tiny gold record. So my buddy, who's this diehard, he bought both sets, and I thought, oh, come on. And then the comic book, Psycho Circus. So I bought the first issue, and I thought, it was kind of hard to read. The artwork was kind of hard to look at. It was just so overdrawn.
Right.
It was sometimes hard to tell what you're looking at, and I thought, I don't know. I don't know if I like the direction that it's going in. So when the album came out, they said we're going to call it Psycho Circus. It was named after the comic book, and I thought, well, did you have to go in that direction? Because like the phrase Psycho Circus doesn't fit well into a musical phrase. And before the album came out, I knew there was a song on it called Psycho Circus. In the back of my mind, I said, well, how do you fit that into a chorus? And I'm thinking, you're in the Psycho Circus. And I had that in my head. You know, this elongated Psycho Circus. I kind of had that in my head. And when I played the album, of course that's the first song, I thought, that's exactly the way I pictured it. And it's to me that's not artistic because you're modeling a song after a comic book title. It's rather than saying whether you could have called it Psycho Circus, but I like the song Psycho Circus, but I don't like the chorus because I don't think it fits.
You started to talk about earlier about what was the downfall, and you talked about merch, and I would say that it wouldn't have mattered. The merch wouldn't have mattered if everything else they did was authentic. If they were doing, if they did things with authenticity, same thing goes. There's another example you just mentioned was, if they could merch all they want, I wouldn't have stopped becoming a fan of Kiss if they had all this merch. I could just ignore the merchandise.
You can, yeah.
As long as the music was there, as long as this, if they had a great show, but they didn't. They compromised that too. They compromised the style of music they put out to try and right. And they compromised their look, their stage show, to try and fit into something. They stopped being leaders and they started being followers.
Well,
and
for a while they had an actual circus as an opening act.
Well, for Psycho Circus, no, I'm talking before though. I'm talking like, the authenticity the lack of authenticity started back right around Dynasty, and I would say I think those capes are a good start. And but I do, and it started to become very un-Kiss-like for me. There, the color scheme started to get in there. So now we're back up to Psycho Circus. You just said it yourself. Like, what's authentic? What's authentic about? Okay, I'm going to write a song about a Psycho Circus because I got a comic book that talks about that's called Psycho Circus. That's not authentic at all. It's contrived, right?
Yeah, it's very contrived.
So,
and I thought that they were trying too hard to. I thought that they were. Are you drinking beer?
No, that's Schweppes actually.
Okay,
ginger ale.
This is a This
Jeff
is a family
Gray
friendly
drinks
show.
Schweppes ginger ale while he does his.
Hey,
his
no
talk
product
show.
endorsement.
Oh, product place. You can fade this
YouTube
out.
will shut us down.
Can't you? No, it's free advertising. What are you talking about?
I thought that the songs were a little too self-glorifying, like "We Are One," and like I don't know, like something about back in the 70s, they told us that we wouldn't last. Yeah, but we came out and we showed them that we're here. I think everyone had, I don't know what song it is, but everyone had a line, and the whole theme of it was,
You wanted the best. It's called You Wanted
the Best. Yeah, we're Kiss, and we started off. We went up against the odds, and we came out on top.
You know what? The problem with that song, the worst problem with that song, was that it didn't have a cool hook to it. The chorus was pathetic.
Contrived. Yeah.
You wanted the best. It was pathetic.
You got the best.
I was like,
that's contrived because you're not going like it's different when you've got a musical tune in your head.
That's when they sat down and said, okay, all right, on this album, okay, we need a Paul song that's going to lead us off. We need a Gene song. Oh, Frehley's got to have a song, so it's just
and it's got to be about outer space.
Into the Void, and we need an anthem. And we need a song where everybody sings sort of like Kissin' Time, and
yes, everyone has a verse.
And
the worst thing they did too,
Peter
is
ballad.
Got to have a Peter ballad. So they had all the good intentions. They went out and got a whoever it was. She was the co-writer from one of the big Aerosmith hits, like I don't want to close my eyes.
I hated those songs. But the worst part about that album is what I found out recently, which was that it really wasn't. It wasn't. I was led to believe in the marketing. And the inside cover said this was an album put out by Peter Criss, Ace Frehley, Gene Simmons, and Paul Stanley.
Yeah, and we know the difference now.
I didn't know it then.
We didn't know it then. No, this is pre-internet. And, well, no, internet was around, but
yeah.
I mean, you bought into it because they told you it was the new album by the original four.
There's a definition.
You could certainly hear their voices on it.
Yeah.
But I mean, almost over 15 years have gone by, and now they're coming right out and saying, Ace. If you go on Wikipedia, it'll tell you exactly who played on what songs.
Oh yeah.
I don't think Peter did any drumming on that. Ace did very little guitar. Tommy Thayer did a lot of guitar. Yep. On that, and that to me was misleading.
Unfortunately,
because I wanted to put that album on and enjoy it as much as I enjoyed Kiss Alive or Destroyer or Love Gun, and I did, but I was totally misled.
I felt suckered in by that, and there's a definition for what they did, and it's called fraud.
Yeah, it is fraud.
It is fraud. It's misrepresentation.
Because you know how I feel. Like I wasn't buying records after the makeup came off.
Yeah.
And like I said, I bought Kiss Alive 3 and I bought Kiss My Ass. But I bought that with as much excitement as when I bought my Kiss albums in the 70s.
That's the fraud. See, the fraud
is fraud, yes.
That's the difference. That's the difference between having ghost musicians, and some people say, "Oh yeah, well, everybody has ghost musicians."
Yeah.
But not everybody goes out of their way to create a reunion and says, "Hey, we're going to have an album by the original four," and they play on the Kiss Army's love of the band. No, I haven't said that. Okay, I go back to when the album came out itself. I liked Psycho Circus. I agree with you. I never understood what the concept was of a psycho circus. I'm not sure what a psycho circus is, or I want to go see a psycho circus.
Stupid is what it is.
Well, I don't know, but I do like the song.
I mean, psycho is degrading to people with mental illness.
Yeah, I mean, without being politically correct, even the song is very fun to play.
Oh, it's a great song.
And
I like it.
And it's got some really cool lines in it, like "Welcome to the Show." I think that's
the makeup running down my face. If anything, they could have called it Theatrical Circus,
or they just could have called it "Welcome to the Show" or something.
Welcome to the Show, yeah.
Or
I thought,
Theater of Pain.
Recently, I played the album again. I played it a lot in '98 when I got it, and learned the songs. It was in my car, and I really enjoyed it. And I just kind of put it away and never played it much after. And recently, I played it, and I like Within. I think that's really well structured. I think Gene sings really well on Within. We Are One. I like We Are One.
Within's the second song, right? It's the one that's really heavy.
Yeah. Maybe it's not Within. But I'll tell you what I love was Journey of 1,000 Years.
Yeah, you said that before.
And I thought, my God, do I ever love this? This is bringing back the sound that I kind of liked on The Elder and some of those more prog rock sounding rather than heavy metal.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that. And of course, I realized, well, they stole the theme from Psycho Circus. It's the Psycho Circus. The solo is the same. But I really enjoyed the song. I liked it.
You're doing a lot more marijuana these days than you used to, right? Apparently so. Yeah, you like that psychedelic stuff. They could have called it Psychedelic Circus. There you go.
There you go.
Yeah, Matahupa. So we're just over an hour. I'm thinking that we should probably cut this one here pretty quick, and because it's, where I'd like to go, I was going to go if we had more time.
Hey, let's make this a 90-minute show.
Nah, I don't think. But I was
we hardly touched the reunion.
Well, we got us to the reunion, right? The next question, there's so much more to talk about though. Hear me out, okay?
Yeah.
There's so much more to talk about. I think that the next part of the conversation naturally goes to the farewell tour and how long that went on for, and the next question I would have for KISS fans and myself and you is, how long should they have gone on for, and how long past dead were they, and what have they done to the legacy since that time? We don't need to talk about the symphony, right? But there's so much to talk about. I think you could start a new show right at the reunion.
You could. I mean, the farewell tour was supposed to be a farewell tour. It's really funny when you look at video of them doing the press conference, and Paul says, other bands have done this, and they've said it. Some bands have made a career out of farewell tours, but no. We're going out. We're done. We're finished. This is it. We're not screwing around. It's a farewell. That was what, 2000?
Yeah, it's 2000 to 2002.
We're now at 2013, and I have tickets for the Monster Tour.
So that's what I'm saying. I really think.
But I think for Paul and I think for Peter and Ace, that was just the right amount of time. From 96 to 2000, they had a 4-year run. I think that when Peter and Ace left the band. You can reunite with Eric Singer, bring in Talmy if you want, or Bruce Kulick or whoever.
That's what I think.
Take the makeup off and then continue on where you left off. At
I think this is our next show, right? I think that's is where
a good discussion,
right? I think that's where let's pick it up from here.
And eventually, how much further can they go? I mean, physically, how much further can they go?
Exactly. Well, here's the questions I have. Was that I kind of agree with you already, but how long should the reunion go on? What was the peak? I agree, 96 to 2000. They went on a little bit further than that. Should they have? What happened when they did Symphony? Because Peter was in Peter was out at one point, and then Ace was still in. Then Peter was out, and Tommy was in, and then they went beyond that, right, with the new members of the band. So there's all kinds of stuff to talk about here, post that still has to do with the reunion. But I think we're going to be over. Yeah, we could talk, you and I, on this topic. We could talk another 2 hours probably if you wanted to. But I think
we need beer.
I don't think we need to talk anymore about it. I think we've set it up now. The reunion was important. We all enjoyed the reunion tour, and now it started to beg some questions for KISS fans. For some KISS fans, not all. Some people loved every single thing they've done, but now the questions are starting to creep up. How long is the right amount of time? When did is the quality still the same? Are they helping the legacy? When did it stop helping the legacy if you don't believe it did? So I think we go there next.
Yeah, for sure.
Right? Yeah. But I think this is I really liked, sort of going back over this with you again, because like I said, for you and I, there's a side story here. Like for me, this is the basis of our friendship was the reunion tour. It was getting to the reunion, and I meant to mention earlier that that's when I got my new Les Paul back in, I think it was 92 before we met. But I had a Les Paul and you didn't. I remember you had Les Paul envy at the time.
Yeah, I did.
Right, and but no more. And you can
I'm overcompensating.
You had definitely overcompensated. You should show.
I need to sell a few. I want to get a boat.
I love. You know what? If you're whoever's listening to the show, I love going to jam at Jeff Scott's house. I don't bring a damn thing with me.
Choose your Les Paul.
I got to choose my Les Paul or a Washburn or whatever he happens to have around there, and an amp choice as well. So you should show us some pictures of your guitars, Jeff. I think and. When you get a chance. So what do you think? You think we got this one pretty much? I mean, we always talk more about it, but
I think that with the reunion and so much going on today, I think people kind of forget about Unplugged, and that's a special moment and a special time.
It's one of their best things they've ever done. I think
it is.
But
it is.
What I would like to see is what I'm really encouraged by, Jeff, and to anyone who's listening, I'm really encouraged by the last show in terms of how quick people took up the last show and started watching it. But also, we're starting to get more and more comments on the on the YouTube page. So it's www.youtube.com/East Coast Kiss Tribute. That's all one word. and the Facebook page. We have some people that are on one and not the other, Jeff. So some people are on YouTube. The Facebook page is obviously www.facebook.com/East Coast Kiss Tribute. Again, all one word, East Coast Kiss Tribute. But
also, if you just do a search on YouTube or Facebook and just type in East Coast Kiss Tribute, it will find it.
But I'd like to see
you'll recognize the bright orange colors and the familiar Kiss faces.
But what I'd really like would be really great would be if we can. I think this is a great opportunity for people to tell other Kiss fans kind of what this meant to them, and to share some of those thoughts on the Facebook and on the YouTube page. So please, give us some more. We love your comments. Jeff and I religiously respond to the comments that are there, and we're honest about it. And you see, Blair does a lot of the postings on Facebook. We're very attentive to that stuff. So, let us know what you think. We'd love to talk about it. Obviously, we love to talk about this. Our 7th show. Right.
There's so much more to discuss.
No kidding. We're just getting started.
God. Do you think if we did a Cheap Trick discussion, we'd have as much to talk about?
No. We'd have some things. Well, we would have some things to talk about. I can think of some other bands that would be a better example than that. But I know you're exactly right. Yeah.
It's an interesting band. It's there's just so much. I guess it's like anything. I mean, if you were a big hockey or sports fan, you could talk hockey all night. I mean, I couldn't tell you a damn thing about hockey. But Kiss, I can tell you a lot about Kiss. I know their birthdays.
I'm learning so much. Actually, you know what?
Who's got the next birthday?
I'm learning so much through this process about social networking, the technology, more about Kiss. Because I always research a little bit when we do these shows. I know you do too. So, but anyway, I think we're good to go, Jeff. I think we got something that we can present to people. I know you do your magic as you always do.
You didn't answer the question.
Oh, sorry. What was the question?
Of the original 4, who has the next birthday?
Oh, I don't have I don't have a clue.
No. August.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Gene Simmons.
Is it? Yeah, I said I'm not a little girly fan like you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paul was born in January. Ace was born in April. You got to guess now. What month was Peter born in?
I don't know. I was born in April.
I'll give you a hint.
He's a Leo.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Well, I can't. No way. I can
December.
Guess that. No. Oh well, Chris. Oh no, I couldn't guess that. There's no way.
You couldn't guess that. If I asked you what month he was born in and sang Jingle Bells, you couldn't guess December.
No, I'm not. I couldn't.
What kind of Kiss fan are you?
I couldn't. No, I'm not. I'm a Kissmas fan. I'm not a Kissmas fan. What are you talking about?
Merry Christmas. Merry Kissmas.
Yeah. Right on.
All right. Well, we're just getting silly now. So.
Yeah,
but we're allowed to. It's our show. We can do whatever we want.
That's right.
On our show.
That's right.
So 7 shows later, and we got lots of fans, and yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I don't know if they're fans yet. When people watch the show.
Yeah, they're fans. See, here's what's going to happen. Mm-hmm. I'm going to be. I won't be going to a bigger center like Toronto or Montreal for the show, but let's just say I did.
Yeah.
I'd arrive let's say in 2000, I went up to Montreal to see the farewell tour.
Yeah.
But let's say I went to Montreal this time, I'd walk in and a whole bunch of people would come up and they'd say, "You're that guy on Watching You. You're the host. You're one of the co-hosts of Watching You." And I'd say, "Yeah, that's me."
That was after all the groupies ran up to you, right?
It's kind of like when I walked into the whatever center in Montreal in 2000. First 2 people I saw was Spiro and Tommy Thayer.
Yeah.
And they were just road crew. Tommy wasn't in the band at the time, but I knew who they were. I just went up and started chatting with them. They were looking for something. They were looking for girls is what they were doing. They wouldn't even look me in the eye. They were looking for girls.
Well, you weren't. Although you act like one, sometimes you aren't one.
No.
Kidding. Just joking. Listen. Thanks
it's getting
for
silly. It's getting silly. John.
Yeah, let's cut this off.
Okay. So, listen, maybe someday we'll do a show on the merchandise because we know how I feel about the merchandise.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. There's a joke. You can't see what I'm doing.
Oh, I can't, no. So.
Time to sign off. Time to say good night. Yeah. So, this is Jeff Scott in St. John, New Brunswick, Canada, signing off for Watching You.
And Jeff Gray in Stewiacke, Nova Scotia, Canada, signing off as well.
Watching us.
Watching us.
All right, have a good night, and we'll see you next time on the show. Bye-bye.
Good night, everybody.